Star Wars 7x7 episode 1870. Today, let's talk about those rumors of an Obi-Wan Kenobi series for Disney Plus. That's a bit different from what we'd been hearing before, so let's dig into it. Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. Let's start with a brief history of Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Disney era. So, as I'm sure you'll recall, if you've listened to the show for a while, then you've probably heard this story once or twice, and if you have been tracking Star Wars news, then you've probably heard it too. But if not, or if you could use the refresher, here is the deal. There wasn't necessarily an Obi-Wan Kenobi included in the original slate of spin-off movies. In fact, the other spin-off movie that we sort of never got is a Boba Fett movie. That was the one that was supposed to be directed by Josh Trank before he ultimately left, was removed. Of course, this has not really been made clear. And all of the sources who have reported on this have been behind-the-scenes people or anonymous sources or people close to this, that, or the other. You know, it's never been an official confirmed report or anything like that. The Obi-Wan movie actually didn't come up until a couple of years later. And even then it was a rumor. It was supposed to be something in discussion, in negotiation, and Stephen Daldry was attached to be the director for it. Or at least that was what the rumor mill had going, but never panned out. And then, of course, Solo happened, and that didn't do as well. And Bob Iger took the blame and said maybe we were trying to do too much too fast, and let's kind of tap the brakes a little bit, and so on and so forth. And so now here we are, and instead they are putting all of their muscle behind Disney Plus. We know that for sure. So obviously, first series is going to be The Mandalorian. Second series is the Cassian Andor series. Iger hinted earlier this year that there would be a third and possibly a fourth, but definitely at least a third coming to Disney Plus also. And so the big question has been, of course, well, what will that third one be? And now we are at where we are yesterday when the reports started coming out about the possibility of an Obi-Wan Kenobi series for Disney Plus. And tracing this back, there's a website called Cinelinx that dabbles in rumors and such, and has a decent enough reputation for these sorts of things. They're the folks that were first reporting that Ewan McGregor was in talks to reprise his role of Obi-Wan Kenobi for a Disney Plus Obi-Wan Kenobi series. And their website notes that it was later confirmed. I'm using Cinelinx's use of confirmed. Personally, I don't like using the word confirmed unless we hear it from Disney or Lucasfilm themselves. So I'll say corroborated, if you will, by Variety and The Hollywood Reporter and Deadline Hollywood. So apparently all three of those publications have their own sources that they reached out to, and for all we know, it's all the same source. I don't know. But apparently they are all corroborating the original Cinelinx report, saying that there will be a Disney Plus series announced featuring Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ewan McGregor in the role. This is supposed to be something that may take place around 6 or 8 episodes. It's not necessarily the full 13 that we're used to with some of these series, but that's the one thing that I've seen suggested about it. Whether or not that's actually true, who the heck knows? I will say, however, that when you have multiple trade industry publications reporting something like this, the likelihood of its veracity definitely goes up. So again, the story itself, the bare bones of it is that Ewan McGregor is in talks, is in active negotiation to reprise his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi for a Disney Plus series, which would make it the third announced Disney Plus series. When would it come out? Well, you know, who knows about that too. Let's say that if the Cassian Andor series is about to start shooting in October of this year and it's not going to come out until next year, 2020, well then, I think we're probably looking at 2021 at the earliest for an Obi-Wan Kenobi series to debut on Disney Plus, if this is actually an accurate scenario. As far as whether or when it might be officially confirmed, well, the D23 Expo is next weekend after all, and so the timing of this rumor is rather interesting as well, since we're so close to that big expo where there are bound to be big announcements, I think we're also potentially at a greater risk for having some of those announcements spoiled for us, if you will, like with rumors leaking out into trade publications about a Ewan McGregor negotiation. Maybe they're hoping to have it completely sewn up and solid before they get to the D23 Expo so they can make the announcement. And I'll say it's a smart choice, it's a safe choice also, and certainly Ewan McGregor has not made a secret of his desire to return to the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi, so that's good. If you have spent any time on social media at all over the last couple of years, you're bound to have come across some sort of fan-posted poll saying, which story do you want to hear next, which standalone story, and it's always Boba Fett and Yoda and Darth Maul and Obi-Wan Kenobi that seem to be the winners of these various random moment polls. So yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi kind of makes sense, but there is actually, one character that I think would have made more sense to me, or at least I'm rather surprised that it didn't go in this direction, and I'll share that with you after the break. Stay tuned. This episode is brought to you by Constant Contact, the premier email marketing solution for small businesses and organizations. I've used their service since 2003, and over the past decade and a half, I've watched them evolve, make the product simpler, more powerful, easy to use, and do everything that they can to help train people to use the product more effectively and for it to work with other forms of marketing like social media, for example. So check out sw7x7.com/email to learn more about Constant Contact and start a free trial. Once again, that is sw7x7.com/email for a free trial. Welcome back. So one of the interesting things about Star Wars is that people who make Star Wars stories often take other genre influences and bring them into Star Wars. And so it becomes this incredible blend of storytelling possibility. Now it's starting to work a little bit in reverse, if you will, where you have The Mandalorian, which is being described as Clint Eastwood in space, or basically like the old spaghetti westerns, okay? And then you have the Cassian Andor series coming up, which is a spy story set in space, or is bound to be. With Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's almost more of a samurai kind of story, potentially, in space, and that doesn't actually stray too far from the Western formula to some degree. But I was thinking that it might have made sense for Disney Plus to try something with the very popular character in the comics, Dr. Aphra, and create sort of an Indiana Jones in space style of series for Disney Plus. So yeah, I guess what I'm really trying to say is that if this turns out to be a true deal, that it is an Obi-Wan Kenobi series, I love the character and I'll be excited for the series, but I'm surprised and a little disappointed that the third series is now the third male character-led series, that they haven't gone with a female lead for any of the Star Wars Disney Plus series yet. And I am coming off just having finally finished the third season of Marvel's Jessica Jones on Netflix, and that one has really been my favorite of all the Marvel Netflix series. It's just, doesn't matter whether it's a male character or a female character, it's a strong character, and it just happens to be female. And so I like the variety of it that way. So I certainly hope that if Obi-Wan Kenobi is the third, there are a wealth of strong female characters in Star Wars if they want to be drawing from the back catalog, if you will. And I hope that they go female with the fourth one if it turns out that this is the confirmed third. And if not, then hey, do that or invent someone new. I mean, Erica Quell from Alphabet Squadron is pretty darn compelling so far too. So anyway, there you go. That is the scoop as we know it so far on the potential for an Obi-Wan Kenobi series for Disney Plus, and that is going to do it for this episode as well. Thank you so much for joining me for it as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
This podcast is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox. It is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other related Star Wars items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2019 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.